Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of your every Tuesday TV show, The Daily Trend. I am Jerry Martinez at Togo, and today we are going to discuss about the symbolism of marital union. I'll be joining the studios with two very important ladies to help me with the discussion. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this break. Hello and welcome back. As I said earlier, today is the daily trend topic for the discussion. I'm joining the studio with Miss Anna and also Miss Sandra. We are going to talk about the symbolism of marital union. Now, we are going to put the segment into two. We have the child effect and the ring effect. Under the ring effect, we are going to be looking at some unmarried couples do wear rings. And also, why married couples do not wear their ring. Now, Miss Anna, why do you think some unmarried couples do wear rings?
Well, I think it's about how the idea that represents the ring,
Sure.
People like to pin their partner down, so they want to know that they belong to someone.
Okay.
So yeah, they entertain the ring wearing.
Okay. Miss Sandra?
I think there are so many reasons why unmarried couples will wear ring or married people will wear ring. Sometimes when they're in a relationship, they are not married. They think that wearing the ring or the partner giving them rings will promise them forever. Sometimes they say, okay, give me a ring to prove to me that you are going to be with me throughout. And sometimes when you come to our university, some of the lecturers, they are really disturbing. They harass some of the ladies. So some of the ladies in our school, they decide to wear a ring just to scare the lecturers away. So that when the lecturer sees them, say, oh, she's married. Even before he approaches, he has a perception that you're already married. So that's why some of the ladies, they wear rings in our school. I think it's a reason.
Can we actually classify it as the piece of ring? Because I believe certain times too, some ladies wear ring not necessarily to piss people off, but there are certain particular guys, it's like they know them. Whether ring or not, they will still go for what they want to go for. But do you think wearing a ring, because it's in Germany and in UK, from my research, I gathered that some people wear ring because they belong to a particular association like knights, priesthood, and other stuff. So do you think wearing the ring is well, or is not well placed in that particular category since they are not married?
I think the ring has become more like a symbol that shows something. In marriage, it's a symbol of your union. Shows that, okay, I'm connected to somebody. And now those occultists and those kind of people are also using the ring to be a symbol that say, okay, some of the pastors, you can even see them wearing rings on their right, which is very absurd. It's not all that's normal for you to see maybe a pastor. And then you see that the hand or the finger that the ring is on is what they use to touch people and then perform all sorts of miracles. So it has become a symbol that people are using for everything.
A bit of spirituality. I also gathered from certain people I encountered that when they wear rings, sometimes like a good luck charm or a voodoo charm for some of the people.
It can be a charm for some people, but I think here it's more like.
But there are a lot of amulets people use, like necklaces, like other things, handkerchiefs.
It could be a necklace. Why can't it be a ring?
Okay. Can we also accept or agree that certain people wear rings because it's like a luxury? I can afford it.
Yes and no.
Why is it?
Because, like we said, it's a symbolism of being into a relationship or something, being committed to something. Okay. So rings, I don't think people would just buy rings for that.
In the aspect about commitment, do you really think that wearing a ring symbolizes love or shows you are committed to someone? I mean, the ring itself.
Personally, I don't think
that's
so.
What I was saying. Because I watched a movie. It's called The Engagement, and the man actually used 3 rings to sleep with 3 best friends.
Wow.
Because at first he wanted to sleep with a lady, and the lady said, no, I don't have any proof that you'll be with me. I need a ring. So the man to and said, oh, just a ring. You want to buy some 2 cedis ring, propose to the lady. That night he proposed her, and he got to have
viewers. 2 cedi is a currency in Ghana. It's a very low, a very cheap way of buying rings for people. But sometimes don't you think there's a little bit of pressure, from the partner or the other lady or the guy, why the guy or the lady would want to go and get the ring just to symbolize what the person wants to do?
Yes, but the idea of the ring is not really African. I think it's Western.
Really?
It's very Western, yeah. If we check the African history, you go to Egypt, ancient Egypt, there was no such things as marriage or wearing rings. It comes from the Romans. And the Romans were the ones that were wearing rings or gifts from your lover to show that you belong to this person. So, well, it's doesn't mean anything. It's just because we copied Western culture. That's all.
Okay, but what about if you are being given a situation to, you need certain customs, they put just a broom on the floor, you just jump over it to symbolize
because they were not
the
allowed
wedding.
to.
But let's say, for example, Coca-Cola is a family company and they have a crest or a logo, if I should say, and per their doctrines or their principles, each member of the direct board need to have a ring on their finger. Is that also something we should consider, that the abuse or the misuse of the symbolism of wearing a union ring?
Like the ring itself is being misused. You can see someone who has rings on all the 5 fingers on his or her fingers. I don't know the reason why people do that. It has become more like a luxury, as you said at first. People don't consider that I have to be married before I wear a ring. Nowadays, people even give their girlfriends ring just to keep them seated. I was in a group, it's like a relationship group, and we were just talking about this ring aspect, and then somebody said a guy has proposed to her for 6 years.
Wow.
And they are still not married. So the reason why she's still waiting is because he has given me a ring, and she thinks that because of that, definitely the guy will marry her one day. So the ring is it's becoming more than it's supposed to be, actually.
Well, I think, like I said, it's not really African. So there are a lot of cultures that use ornaments for their body. So earrings on your, I don't know, on the fray wrist, on the fingers. So maybe some people misuse that, but is it really misuse? Because what makes it normal? It has a symbol,
but you spoke earlier about, the finger on which it is being worn.
Yes.
Sometimes you want to wear like a family crest or so, but sometimes the finger on which you put it also gives a different meaning, because I believe all rings sends a message. Sometimes there are certain people who wear ring for no reason. I remember, for example, when I was in senior high school, I was in a Catholic school, so they put their rosary on. I was just wearing it because I just felt like wearing it. And the same reason for which some people even wear it. But would you believe, or would you agree with me, that certain people, their ring is actually a code? Let's say, for example, in the LGBT community, sometimes when you see someone putting one earring, the person is identified as probably a gay or a lesbian or in that community. So could you also believe that people can put ring as a symbolism?
Yes, they can, but that doesn't mean that it is always a symbolism when they wear one.
It could be. Okay, let's
always. For me, it could be nothing, and then I wear it because I want to wear it. So
but why should you wear rings? Because
why shouldn't I wear rings? Why should I wear earrings and not be able to wear rings if I want to?
Let's say, for example, earrings are usually for probably females. So if you see a guy wearing earring, one, it could be because he wants to show like I'm the tough guy, or I'm the this and that. Or it could also symbolize the LGBT community, like I was speaking about. Now let's move from that and go to why married people do not wear their rings. Why do you think married people do not wear their rings?
Okay, well, I think married people do not wear their ring because, one, religion doesn't make it compulsory. When you take the Muslims, it's not compulsory for them to wear a ring when they are married. And sometimes too, mostly the men, the women, we take certain things as word couple. You see a woman wearing a ring, it's true. It's true. Like, you see a woman wearing a ring always, and the man, if you see a married couple who has been married for a very long time, see that the man's ring is very new. It's still new, but the woman's ring, she uses it to wash, do everything. She doesn't want to remove it. But men, sometimes the bad men, they know what they want to do. When they travel, they remove it, they hide it. Like, then because they want to do certain things.
You cannot say bad.
Some of them. Are you identifying as a bad man?
No, I am representing the men on the show for today. Okay, now upon a discussion with an elderly person, she made me understand that certain times married men do not wear ring because it gives them the confidence to approach people of older ages or younger ages, in the sense that when they do approach someone, for example, you go to a restaurant or a coffee shop, you just finish your tea or whatever you took and you give a tip.
Yep.
If you are married, directly, some people might think you are just hitting on the waitress or probably if you are a lady, the waiter. So when you don't wear that ring, certain times it makes certain generous acts you do normal. People wouldn't have wrong thoughts. I'm not denying the fact that I know you are just waiting for me. I'm not denying the fact that it could also go on the negative side, but sometimes we should consider the fact that it can also be on a positive angle. So why do people outright think that when you are married and you don't wear your ring and you try to do certain generous acts, it means you are having
I think if you want to wear your ring, you don't want to wear your ring, you should agree with your partner. That's the only thing that really matters here.
Okay.
Because he or she is the one who's going to feel special about you not wearing the ring? Just imagine we are married and then you decide to not wear your ring, and I discover that you don't wear your ring. I'm going to be frustrated.
Exactly.
Why should you?
Yes, because especially because if you did not tell me, okay, this is why I'm not wearing, there's no reason, and then I see you and you're pretending you are single when you are very well engaged with
it's true,
beautiful
because
woman like
the
me.
ring is like the most important part of the wedding. The whole wedding you are doing, you can choose not to dress nicely, but the moment you cannot wear it without a ring. That's why we say so many vows on the ring before we finally put it on the
for me, it's
finger.
like an acknowledgement of your partner. It's like you're carrying your partner with you. So if you are refusing to carry your partner to give the
I'm
tea,
going to use myself.
I'm wearing mine. It shows that you have married me, but you are not wearing yours. So who am I married to?
Yes,
It's like somebody has married me. I've not married anybody. So.
But I like to bias because sometimes the job, the work can be,
occupational
or
hazards
your husband has been losing his ring since forever.
Yeah.
Then you agree. Okay. You tell your partner, okay,
let me
this
bring
is what
a
happens.
scenario. For example, we got married and my ring got broken. Probably I'm a hard worker, so my ring got broken, and I didn't want you to know.
Why wouldn't you want your partner?
It's like sometimes it's you want to be able to handle things
They are very
yourself.
emotional.
So it's broken, and then you decide to probably use a week or two to gather some money and buy a new one. And maybe in terms of going to buy a new one, decide to buy two so that you replace that of your lady, or
well.
I mean, if it was a lady with a guy's own. But during that process, your partner gets to find out. So would you say because, I mean, it got broken, you were trying to surprise the person? But you know, sometimes ladies can get irrational about these things. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's wrong when sometimes you don't wear the ring for certain good reasons. So do you always have to tell your partner?
Irrational.
Irrational. I was trying to surprise you, right?
I don't like surprises, for example. But seriously, I don't like surprises, and I feel, what's the big deal about telling your partner
I'm trying to surprise you, so I don't need to let you know.
It depends on who your partner is. You have to know your partner. If you know that your partner takes certain things very high. My parents have been married for maybe over 20 years, and that 20 years, my mother has changed her ring, like, because she does everything with it. She never removes it. And anytime it gets missing, she has to make sure that she buys a new one and wear. But my father, I've never seen a ring on his finger. Probably the first one got missing, and he has never know to even replace it. He doesn't care. But my mother, the moment it misses today, tomorrow he has to make sure that she replaces it. Because last time I was with her, we were at the shop and a certain guy came there, was looking at her, then she just lifted her hands to show the guy I'm married. So it's the same way, show something. That's why you don't have to just.
So let's say I'm wearing a ring, and I mean, after a while, maybe I wasn't that big earlier, I was a bit slim, the ring was fitting, and then it began to become unfit, or it started creating markings on my hand. And I decided to remove it. Is that also wrong?
Yeah, but then you can get a new one.
She just gave a very clear example. Probably the first one got
as fast as possible.
Okay, as fast as
yeah, that's a new one ASAP.
But then if your partner feels okay with it, it's fine. But if she doesn't feel alright and you don't have the money, let her buy her one. Let her buy you
symbolism.
one.
Why would she have to buy me?
But then again, it's between the two people.
Yeah.
So if she's fine with it, it's fine. There's no big deal.
Okay, viewers, the show is getting interesting. The ladies actually on me as the only guy on the show, but we're going for a commercial break. When we come back, the show still continues. Come back. We are still on the symbolism of marital union. Now we'll be talking about the child effect. You know, in some marriages or relationships, okay, the ladies are already starting to laugh. We are going to continue with this one. I'm not going to say this to be biased, but most of the time, most women just want the child and not the marriage or the husband. Yeah. Why do some ladies, I'm being specific, some ladies only want children or a child and not the husband or the marriage? That is what we are going to be discussing on this particular segment. One reason for sure I know is commitment phobia. Yes. A lot of men or women, or let's put it on women for now, don't like having commitments. It's like there's the issue of, is this guy going to stay forever? If I have kids with him and then he decides to go. Or personally, they have issues committing themselves into a relationship. So they don't even want to get there to the extent that maybe I just want to have a child, so what else do I need a man for? Why do most ladies think that? Because it's common among celebrities actually. They just want to have the kid and then let their marriage go. Why?
I think it's because of the perception they have about marriage as being a bondage.
Okay.
Some people they see marriage as being very restrictive.
You become slaves.
Because I cannot marry someone and tell me, the person will tell me when to come back home on a Friday night, those type of things.
Okay.
And as they have this perception, their families still be bothering them, especially their parents. I want grandchildren. So with this perception, they just say, okay, then let me just have a child and give to my parents to make them happy. But me to enter into marriage for the husband to maltreat me, restrict me, stop me from doing the things I like, then let me just get a child and then be free.
I partially agree with that.
Thank God this is partially agreed upon.
I agree with you, because sometimes you don't want to put yourself in the constraint of somebody to be your father. Somebody who's going to tell you what to do, when to do it. You need to always seek your partner's advice. Maybe if you want to stay late with your friends, or you want to sleep over at your friend's place, you need to ask your husband if he's fine.
But I want to understand something.
Then I don't think women are afraid of commitment. I think that's the other way around.
No.
I think men are more afraid of commitment than women. Because when it comes to having babies, once you have a baby, like, they want to stay with the people they have children with. They don't want to go around have babies with many people. They want to stay in one particular place and do it. But if you misbehave, they are eager to let you go, because society forgives women for trying, but they don't forgive women who don't give children.
that is very true. Another thing we can also look at it, certain times at an age limit, for example, certain women want to achieve a particular goal. So they feel like, well, if I have a high-paid job, a well-paid job, and I'm going to get married, the end result of getting married is having kids.
Yeah.
So if I can just have the kid as a shortcut and then just not worry myself about the husband, the marriage, having to do these commitments, follow this regulation, get to know extended family and all that, they just try to go for the child first.
Yes.
But I think sometimes they do that by in the absence of understanding that child needs a male side or
a male
father.
figure.
Yeah.
So why is it very common? I'm saying this because I believe that most time in, let me say, celebrities, not to attack the entertainment industry, but it's very common because certain times, so the role they would have to play determine why, or the career path they have chosen, where they want to attain, also hinders them from getting into a marriage. Because let's say your director wants to give you a very super role that is, high amount of money or box office role, and then you are married, and it's just because you are married you cannot have kids, or just because you are with your husband you cannot get that role. Because sometimes certain roles depict certain activities or scenes that might not be good. So why do ladies still strive for these goals and then decide not to go?
It's true, because if you go to Ghana, most of the celebrities who got married, especially the actresses, they ended up divorcing. And because the husband will want them to stop acting, probably because
it's natural to me.
Because they kiss people, other people in the movie.
How can you ask somebody to stop?
Yeah, because when they are doing the movie, sometimes they go half naked, they kiss people in the movie, they do certain things.
You can recuse yourself from certain roles.
Well, how can you, if it is
that's the role that pays. That's the role that pays. I can't just be an extra.
We guys suffer sometimes, because it's like I'm enjoying something, I'm seeing somebody not necessarily enjoying really it.
She's yours. It's just acting.
No, but it's normally it's the ladies who the guys restrict them to stop acting.
Yes.
You see the male actors, they marry and they're still going on kissing in the movie. I don't know why.
You see, you said something earlier about society being able to forgive women in certain angles. In this situation, I don't think if a man plays a particular role, whether sexual or intimate, it is considered much of it's okay that a lady playing that, because we believe that certain ladies' bodies are kind of a value to the man.
So men's bodies
that's
what you're trying to say.
See, whether we like it or not, there are certain gender benefits or certain gender aspects that can be easily neglected and some that cannot be. It's like, let's say, for example, your daughter sees you doing that. To her, maybe she feels like it's okay.
But your son can see you kiss other...
Excuse me, a son will not bear a child. A woman will.
Okay, so your daughter...
will see your mom doing that. Okay, I think it's okay. I cannot, because mom is doing it. So
but I'm sure your children will understand there's a difference between acting and real life.
It could be.
It's not a matter of could be. They can understand it. You can explain to your children, this is acting, this is mommy's job, this is what she's good at, and this is definitely not what happens in everyday life. She's with daddy, and There's a difference.
But when the child goes out, people will be criticizing him. Your mommy, I saw your mommy on television yesterday, she's kissing somebody else. The child will become confused. So because the child, it's true. Children, they tease each other.
Well, they will tease you anyway. Like, I was teased when I was a kid. Stop. My parents were not acting, but I was still teased, so I can't. I don't understand.
Okay. Another thing I want us to look at is the family chain. Certain people, per their families, maybe my uncle, my auntie never got married, they had kids. So to them, they have understanding that it is okay to have kids if necessarily not being in a marriage. Do you think it's something we should, appreciate, or we should
but then again,
just take a look at?
Like I said before, society forgives that. Society, if you were a woman who never got married and never had children, they will not forgive you because it's like you let your womb go waste. You did not procreate for humanity or something. So yeah, if you feel sometimes also because many people want to stay unmarried for a long time.
Because my auntie, she has been disappointed most of the time. She's my mother's younger sister, and now she's maybe 35 years and she's not married. Every day my grandmother will be like, if you don't get any husband, just give me children, just give me some grandchildren. You can just let's get pregnant so that at least when they look at you, they look at somebody. Oh, is that your mother? Your mother is this person. So that when you die, you know, because she's the only female child of her mother. They are two boys, and she's the only female, and she is not having any marriage or even child, so they think that she's just wasting away.
And I think women also want to experience motherhood, and they don't want you to regret later on. Like you are 50 and then you never you never got pregnant, you never got to call somebody your baby and all those things.
But I don't think it should be something we should appreciate, as you said, because
I believe
it shouldn't be.
Can we stop
society can pardon you, but
the child will be worrying you. Where's my daddy? Like those type of things. What are you going to tell him? And people will gossip. Even if you told your daddy died, somebody will call someone and say, your daddy didn't die, you didn't have a daddy, your mother just went to. Some people, they can't just mind their business.
I think sometimes bullying also is part of the reason why most women should not just want the kids and not the marriage, because if, for example, there's a man in the house and another person comes in and sees the man, there's that discipline or that presence that tells the person, don't mess up around here. But if it's just a woman and
come on, that's not true. I live in a house where only women are. Seriously, my mom, my grandma, and I. So I don't think so. We are both intimidating enough. We can fend for ourselves. Thank you. There's no male figure. There has never been a male figure in the house, and we are fine.
Okay,
and nobody has come there before to try to.
No.
If the person comes
and then
this is one in a million situation, I would say, because the presence of men in the family
it's
a form of security as well.
We are pretty well. Actually, we do stuff you have no idea we can do. You have no idea, but then we all understand that there's no man. We have to do it.
Okay, now we are moving to why certain men or women abandon their children. And one very common issue, or one very common example I can give sometimes, is imprisonment or incarceration. Certain time when men, especially in the United States, there's a lot of black incarceration, if I should say. So if, for example, your father or the man is being incarcerated and the woman is in the house, by the time he gets out, sometimes psychologically, he's probably lost the idea of what reunion of family is. So the person can even come back from jail and then just don't know how to merge or get back into society. So in that regard, they kind of neglect, or maybe for lack of a better word, neglect instead of abandon their children. But what are some of the other reasons why you think people abandon their children?
Well, I think poverty helps.
Maybe
you take your wife to the hospital and then she delivers twins and you need to you need money to cut that, and you're like, I don't have that money, I don't have anybody to. So they run away from the hospital and leave the wife.
It's true. And sometimes opportunities, they see an opportunity they want to grab. Maybe their friends introduce them to Dubai where they go and pick things and come and sell. And all of a sudden they meet a man there. Before you realize, they just send a message to the husband that, please, I'm not coming back, I've met someone here. And then they just abandon the child too. I've seen a couple of situations like that. Agreed. Especially the ladies, they just go somewhere and they meet something which is bountiful. And then they forget about their husband, my poor husband, and they forget about their child as well. So they just leave.
Now, one very pressing issue on this is cheating. I don't believe cheating should be the reason why, a partner or a spouse should leave, abandon the child. I'm saying this because certain times when they look at the child, like, you look like your father. He cheated on me. Or you look like your mother. She cheated on me. Oh, it's very true.
So they run away.
Yes, they just leave the kid and then go to your grandparents, go to your husband. Go to your mom or go to your dad. I don't think it should be a reason. So how do you think we can address
cheating only? Yeah. If it's only cheating, I beg to differ. What cheating only? It's enough. Yeah. Are you serious, Sandra? Do you agree with this?
Well, it happens. You see, this kind of society that we are in. So, like at first they said that when you are even going to write an exam, maybe your name Sandra, the examiner will say, this Sandra, this a certain girl called Sandra broke my heart. Then they just it happens in exam. So people can see somebody who resembles somebody, and then it's reminds them when they just cut the person off.
Your own child.
Because the child, they say the child will grow up to be like the mother. So they resemble.
It's possible because let's say, for example, you've been hurt. Certain people also don't have the heart for breakups or divorce. So when, for example, the person cheats on you, the next thing is sometimes they give a contact time. Maybe they do a petition or whatever in court, and then you are restricted from meeting your child. Well, let's say for a whole year you meet your child just twice. It will get to some point probably you feel like you don't even belong to the family, so you just move away.
Yes, so that's divorce. It's not your choice. You do not decide to.
Even certain people do it when they are separated. I mean, they are not divorced, but they are separated, and then their contact time with the children and all.
Yeah,
one very issue that I also disagree with is, I mean, men mostly trying to have like multiple partners, and their wives are not agreeing that you should have, more than one or two wives. But what can we do to, deal with that particular situation?
What do you want to do? Educate your men. Because I'm afraid anything I'm going to see here is not going to be biased.
Ladies should also understand, like in certain traditions or cultures, it is allowed to marry more than one or two. Maybe you are not from that particular dispensation, but when you marry somebody in that line, you should be able to understand that.
No, it has to be clear that you decide to stay with me or you want to go with your culture. Which
Let's
is
say it's a self-discovery. I believe that, okay, I got married, I'm wealthy enough, I can take more than two wives, and I want to. It wasn't like a forthcoming thought. During the marriage, I decided to just have that. And because of that, I did say, okay, but if you want to get married again.
When we want to talk about polygamy, even in the ancient traditions, it's not allowed to marry a second wife unless your first wife agrees. And sometimes she picks the wife for you.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It happens.
You have to pick.
So she has to agree
of the person who is coming to join her.
Exactly. So what you're saying, if the first wife does not agree, even if you are wealthy, even in tradition, you are not allowed to. You cannot go behind your first wife and have a second wife because you are wealthy. So it's better to have an understanding from the beginning.
Yeah, those who have been trained in that religion, they agree. My husband can marry. But if you have not been trained in that religion, if you are not a Muslim, you are not from the north side, those who have been trained, it will be very difficult for you to accept
that.
So the man should know the man as a man, and you know that there might be a possibility of you having more than one wife. You should know it before you get married that this woman or this tribe is not going to be easy.
I agree on that. So I want to take your last question on the symbolism of marital union. The ring effect and then the child effect, so that our viewers will learn something.
Okay, thank you very much, viewers. I would like to say that if you are married, you have to always make sure that you put your ring on, because if you remove it, people read so many meanings inside. So you just have to make sure that always it's on. If by any means you lose it, just tell your partner, let him be aware. If you are not married and somebody is promising you with a ring just to promise you some commitments to get his or her way with you, it won't work. So don't even give in. And then I also want to say that if you are facing any issue, your child shouldn't be the person who you should vent your anger on. Never leave your child alone, because you don't know, maybe she is your one and only child that you are going to have. So if you go out there, you meet someone who is more richer than your husband or your wife, and then later you don't have children again, will you come back and take that child you abandoned back and call her your child? Let's just learn to appreciate one another, have one another at heart, and I think everything will be okay for us. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Sandy, your last word.
Well, I would like to say that relationships are really hard. That's always my take. So if you're married and then the ring is posing a problem, you guys should sit down and agree. If there's an issue, if you've lost it, you don't feel comfortable, you should talk to your partner. But the minute there are children in the picture, you need to take certain you need to put yourself behind. You need to put your children first and take the best decision for them. And then later on, you can think about you, because you brought them in the world. Nobody asked you to.
Yeah.
So you need to take full responsibility for what you do. Thank you very much. That will be all.
Okay, viewers, Miss Sandy said you brought them into the world, so you should consider your position. And then Miss Sandra also spoke about not being held down by a ring. A ring has a symbolism, so please, viewers, if you are watching this show, you catch a repeat the same time Tuesday at 8:15 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. And then also, if you want to get interactive with that, it's at the Daily Trend TDT on Facebook and Instagram. Stay tuned. We'll meet you next time.